Hi you guys. This is my very first YouTube Live, and I am so excited to be starting this. So, we are going to be talking all about budgets today. And we're going to also be talking about some of the beginner mistakes that I've personally made when I started my budget and what a lot of people end up doing when they are trying to figure out their finances for the very first time. And I always say the number one tool that helped me pay off $35,000 in student loan debt in just 2.5 years on a $37,000 income was the budget. And at first, I didn't know what I was doing whatsoever. So, I want to share some of those mistakes with you and what I see people make, and then how to correct it so you can move even faster than me and get your debt paid off really quickly. Not only that, but hit your financial goals. I would love to know if you can drop into the chat what you are currently using for your budget tool. So whether it is a spreadsheet, a notebook, or a app, just drop that into the chat. So spreadsheet, app, notebook. Also, Kyle is in here trying to help me figure out the tech of it all. So yes.
It's focused on your background.
Okay, so it's focused on the background. What if I did this? We had to turn off autofocus because autofocus was creating a frame around the video. But if that's not going to mess with people, I could totally turn it on again. Okay, so we have one person who said spreadsheet, amazing, app, YNAB, very cool, spreadsheet. Okay, awesome. One of the things that I see, regardless of what you are using, is people trying to fit themselves into a budgeting method that doesn't work for their brain. So if you're using a spreadsheet and you can't stay on top of it to actually input those transactions, then the data is not going to work for you. If the data is only as good as what you are inputting, then it's not going to keep up. It's not actually going to tell you what the financial decision should be next. So I always tell people, especially with my coaching program, which we'll talk about here at the end of the video, and also stick around to the end because I have awesome giveaways for those in attendance, is use a budget that works best for your brain. So whether it's a spreadsheet or a notebook or an app, you got to do what works best for your brain and stay consistent with it for at least 2 to 3 months in order to get that muscle memory down. But I want to give you the first mistake here, which is not using past spending history to accurately plan for your budget. So instead of going back into your past spending history, a lot of people will just pick out a random number for a budget category and say, okay, that sounds good. And then they end up getting frustrated because they either under budgeted or just didn't account for it whatsoever. So, one of the things that you can do instead is take an average of the last 3 months of spending on a particular category and use that as your planned amount for the month. So, I'll give you an example. When I started budgeting for the first time in 2012, I thought I was spending around $60 to $70 per month on gas for my car. I was like, I occasionally take some trips, but honestly, I'm just going back and forth commuting to work. When in all reality, when I did a spending audit, which is something you'll learn inside of my coaching program, I learned that I was actually spending closer to $150 per month on gas alone. I was way off. You might be thinking the same thing of putting a random number down for restaurant spending. And when you do a spending audit, you might be really surprised at just how much you're spending on a particular category. So that's the first mistake, is not using past spending history to accurately plan. The second mistake I see a lot of people make, and myself included, is making it too restrictive. So you'll create a $500 grocery budget when in reality you're spending close to $1,000. So that's way too restrictive. And what happens is when you get it so far off, you end up becoming really frustrated and angry that you went over budget and you're consistently over budget. So you're like, screw it, I'm just not going to do the budget anymore. So I also see this when people are implementing like a no spend month or like a no shop month, when in reality you spend a lot of your free time shopping retailers. It's just not realistic and it ends up being too restrictive. Has anybody ever done something like that? I'm going to check the chat real quick. Oh, huh. Oh, yay. Somebody's using the super budget template. Love it. Guilty on arbitrary numbers. Yes. Like it just like you pick some random amount and you're like, wait, what was the thought process? When you pick a random number, it's unrealistic and it's not intentional or thoughtful. When you can use that past spending history, and two, I also see people on the making it too restrictive, they will know their numbers and they'll say, well, I have done a spending audit and holy shit, I'm spending $1,000 in restaurants. I really need to cut that back. I'm going to make a plan to only spend 400. That's not realistic and it's too restrictive because your brain and your daily and weekly routines are not used to that. You're going to blow through that $400 restaurant budget in 1 week. And so one thing that I tell people to do, and especially in my coaching program, is I will have them do these challenges where we are stair stepping down that budget to make it less restrictive. So $1,000 on restaurants, you're like, that's ridiculous. I want to scale that back. Okay, let's go maybe not 400, but let's try 850. Can you shave off $150 from your restaurant spending for the next month? And when we can kind of get used to these little micro adjustments over time, then that's how we can really make shifts and transition you into taking that money that you were blowing on food and redirecting it towards things like paying off your credit card, building up the first $2,000 in your emergency fund, and also have a little bit of room for fun. The third thing that I see, and I was guilty of this too, is randomly paying extra on your debt. So I see a lot of people who will throw like an extra $100 at their credit card, an extra $20, or rounding up. I see a lot of this rounding up on the credit card payment. So if your credit card payment is like 123, they'll just be like, it's 130. What is the $7 really doing for you randomly in the month of September? It's really not moving the needle. Inside of my video curriculum, I talk about this. This is a ball. Your money is a ball of energy. And so when you take that energy and you are putting it out into 12 different directions, we've got a little bit of a debt payment here, we've got a little bit of savings, we've got kids' activities, we've got restaurants, we've got shopping, we've got the mortgage, whatever. When you're putting it towards all these different things, especially your financial goals, you're only moving it just millimeters. But when we can take the bulk of that money and put it towards one financial goal and we give it that one clear direction, well, then you're moving miles. And that's how you pick up momentum, especially with your debt payoff. One of the mistakes that I made early on with my budget and figuring out, okay, I'm going to put an extra $500 towards my debt payment this month. I was not intentional about putting it towards a specific debt, and specifically student loans. So if you go inside of your student loan servicer and inside of your account, you, much like me, may have a lot of different student loans that you took out over the course of your collegiate life. Okay, so you may have had student loans from freshman year, sophomore year, junior, senior year. And what I ended up doing is just doing the standard repayment. And what happened was that standard repayment allocation was they would take my $500 extra payment and spread it across 10 to 12 different individual student loans. Again, it's that idea of money being a ball of energy. Well, it was going 10, 12 different directions and it was barely moving the needle. So late in the game, I figured it out that you had to take your payment and do a custom allocation, which they're going to tell you that that's not the popular method. I think is what Great Lakes said is like not popular. It's like screw you. So what you do is you take that extra payment in a custom allocation and put it towards a specific student loan, and they may be grouped like group AA, group B, group C, and put it towards the specific loan that you want to pay off first. You'll know how to do that and you know how much to do that because you took the time to work your budget to figure out exactly how much extra money you have left over to put towards your debt. This stuff I cover in week 2 of my 8-week coaching program, which launches Wednesday night. So in 2 nights, we're going to be starting our very first live coaching session together. And this is just week 2 of what I talk about. There's actually 8 weeks of content and so much more for you to learn inside of the program. But before I get into that, I want to hear your questions around this. Drop this in the chat if you have questions about how you're putting together your budget or if there's something that you're getting stuck on. I'm just going to go through what I see so far. So, quite a different methods for budgeting, which, I mean, there's no right or wrong. Again, whatever works best for your brain. We definitely talked about being specific on the numbers. I love your channel, especially the budget reviews. Thank you so much. I have a new budget review that's coming up soon that I am super stoked about. I can't wait. Let me know what questions you guys have on your budget. Is there somewhere that you are getting stuck? Yeah, I have trouble being consistent with tracking my expenses. Okay. So if you have trouble staying consistent with like inputting those expenses, what I do is I like to designate 1 day per week to update my budget. So I just put 30 minutes on my calendar for the week, and it could be Money Mondays, Financial Fridays, Sunday afternoons tend to work out really well. Kyle and I typically are filming Beers and Budgeting on the weekends, and so I like to put the budget together then. That is a really easy way for you to keep consistent with tracking your expenses is by putting it on your calendar and keeping it a habit. It's like working out. Is there a specific time or day of the week that you like to work out? Keep it consistent. Or another trick that I learned from a book is if you want to get better at tracking your expenses, this is a habit that you want to make, tie it to a habit that you already do consistently. So this could be a habit of you checking your email first thing in the morning. Well, you could tie it with that habit of checking your email and tracking your expenses. So Monday morning, you're like, okay, I'm going to check my email, and then 15 minutes after that, I'm going to dedicate 15 minutes to updating my budget and my spreadsheet. So tying it to a habit that you already have and that you already have down pat could help with that. Oh, yay. Okay. Actually, I'm seeing like now there's 2 different chats here. Okay. Channel. How much to save for retirement versus college versus paying off the home? Okay. How much to save for retirement versus college versus paying off the home? If you are, yes, I think it was Atomic Habits that I was talking about for the other person. If you are debt free, this is something that you could really start to amplify. If it's college for kids, I like to prioritize my own retirement over the college savings, meaning I'm putting more money towards the retirement. Like right now, since Kyle works a W-2 job, he can max out his 401k with his employer. we are putting nowhere close to that for our kids' college education. Also, I have some other thoughts about college education and just higher education, and the tuition is just like insane. So I typically like to prioritize retirement first, and paying off the home early is really such a personal choice. I know a lot of people in the fire community really talk about like paying off the mortgage early so you don't have that payment anymore, but honestly, if it's not going to be a forever home, or you like the option of not having a forever home, I'm kind of torn on whether or not you should actually pay that off early. I don't know if that was a direct answer to your question, but those are my immediate thoughts on that. Okay. Someone says multiple savings goals at once, down payment, wedding, car fund. Okay. A way you can do this is to take all three of those savings goals and figure out, get an estimate on how much you want for each goal, when you want to accomplish that goal by, and then divide it by the number of months until you want to hit that goal. So I don't know, maybe you have a wedding coming up in the next 9 months. That would take priority. And the way that you juggle multiple savings goals at once is you're going to take the bulk of your discretionary income. That is the money after you pay for those basic living expenses, and you've got the money left over, like everything else is covered, your utilities, bills, subscriptions, all that. You're going to figure out and take the bulk of that discretionary income and put it towards that highest priority financial goal. And then other things can get saved for at the same time. So perhaps it's the wedding. That one jumped out at me. So the wedding's in 9 months. We need to be putting an extra $500 per month towards this goal because we want an extra $4,500. You could do a smaller amount towards the car fund or your down payment of like $100. So that way you're still saving for everything simultaneously, but you're also giving that money one clear direction. Okay, next question. I am budgeting every single day. I want to change this method. I just do spending tracker app. It feels like spending so much time on budgeting daily. Is there a better way to budget? Yeah, daily budgeting is like, that's hardcore. That is so hardcore. I feel like you could definitely maybe move to once a week and make a plan for the week ahead and just take a look. Okay, how was my spending for this past week? And then what is my plan moving forward for the next week? Okay, I'll answer 2 more questions here. I aggressively save, and due to cash flow, I run out of funds in my main account and need to transfer back. I could leave more money in the main account, but it feels like I'm not progressing when I do. Yeah, I would stop aggressively saving. And I think also, instead of this transfer back and forth, I think you need to build in a buffer for your checking account, because a buffer is going to help you navigate any unexpected expenses during the month. I think that'll be really helpful. Okay, last one. I still struggle with knowing how to put into my retirement account since I will have a pension from teaching along with paying off my house before I retire. Okay, ignore the pension if you can, because I feel like pensions are kind of like guaranteed. I shouldn't say guaranteed, but quotations around guaranteed money. And what I want you to do is read The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. He just updated this book, and if you're like, who the hell is that? I did an interview with this author on the channel, so just search J.L. Collins on my channel and you'll find the interview with him, and he is fantastic on giving you the financial priorities on how to deploy investing money. It is a great read. He talks about really maxing out those employer plans first, and then if you are income eligible, to do a Roth IRA. So you're doing a blend of like the tax advantaged and the tax deferred retirement accounts, which is fantastic. I also wanted to share, I want to give these giveaways before it gets too late and also before my camera battery dies out, because I've never done a live before and I realized I did not have my camera like super plugged in. So if it dies, it dies. one of the things that is coming up soon is this Wednesday, starting at 8 o'clock Central Time, so 6 p.m. Pacific, is the very first live coaching session for the Debt Free Millennials group coaching program. This is an 8-week coaching experience that is going to help you get unstuck financially so that you can better budget, have a debt-free payoff plan that actually works. And I love helping people create debt-free payoff plans that gets them debt-free in 5 years or less. Typically, I'm seeing like 3 years or less. And oftentimes when people are really committed and they're focused with their finances, they are paying off whole credit cards inside of the time that I'm working with them. So this is a small group. And what you're going to learn is my 6-part Debt-Free Millennials money method framework, so that you don't have to guess about what the heck you're doing with your money, that there's a blueprint that you're going to follow. And part of what we talked about today is included in that, but that's just like one little segment. You're going to get live coaching from me for a total of 6 sessions. And then you're also going to get a video curriculum inside where you're going to be watching video trainings, you're going to be doing some exercises, and then you're going to come to the call and be prepared to talk about some of those trainings, as well as get some coaching with me and a small group of individuals who actually get it and who are right there with you. So my goal for this container is to create safety around the topic of finance, because I think a lot of us are lacking financial self-trust. So when was the last time that you trusted yourself to make budgeting decisions and feel really excited about that? And if you're like, I don't know, then I definitely want you to check this out. I'm going to put this in the chat. This is the link to the program, and I want to give you guys some giveaways for sticking around on the live. So just by being here, I want to give away my super budget template to 2 people. So I want you guys to raise your hand in the chat if you would like to get my super budget template just by being here. But if you are interested in taking this a step further and you want to join the group coaching program, the first 2 people to join from the YouTube Live will receive a free 30-minute private coaching session with me. So in addition to the group training and the video curriculum and all the other yummy stuff that you get side of the group coaching program, is you'll get a private session with me so that we can talk about your stuff and get a plan together so that you feel extra supported. The first 4 people will get a custom Debt-Free Millennials hat. I think you guys have seen me wear this a few times on some of my Beers and Budgeting episodes, but I want to give this to the first 4 people who sign up for the group coaching program, because you got to rock the swag. Am I right? Okay, I see some hands up for the budget template. Okay, Kyle, I will not pick you. We already have it. Okay. Mr. Nighthawk 13, I got you. I am going to send you my super budget template. If you can email me at this email address, I'll put it in the chat, justine@debtfreemillennials.com, Mr. Nighthawk 13, and then I'll go with Liz Graham. Liz, you did 2 hands. So I got Mr. Nighthawk 13 and Liz Graham. Guys, send me an email to justine@debtfreemillennials.com. I will hook you up with the super budget template. And if you're like, I missed out, well, if you sign up for the group coaching program, the super budget template is already included. It's already included inside of group. You'll get that. The first 4 people will receive a hat, and the first 2 people. So basically, if you're the first 2 people, you'll get a 30-minute private coaching session plus a hat. Plus, you'll get to join this fall and get your budget in order, especially right before the holidays. I think this is a perfect time for you to finally address those financial anxieties and stress and really take some guidance here so that you feel supported and that you're not doing it alone, because you don't have to. All right, you guys, that is it for my live. Now to figure out how to sign off of this thing, I'm not really sure. Oh, I